Good afternoon, Sports Insanity Networks fan. It's Mark Oldop Sky Halpern, along with my PIC Vice President Danny Boy Reginald, here for a preview of the NBA Finals with the New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs, which will start tomorrow night. Dan, how you doing, my man?
I'm ready.
Dan
I'm
has
ready
been
to
waiting
go.
for this his whole life.
Mhm. You have to
Again,
understand, I've been following the Knicks since what, 2001-ish, maybe 2000. So this is after
yeah.
the 90s
After
runs to the finals, which they both lost both of them. So like, the tail end of Ewing, the middle of Spreewell, middle of Allen Houston. LJ was gone at that point. So like, this is like the first time I'm really experiencing a Knicks championship run as a fan. And it's exciting. Like I never thought it would actually happen, but we're here. Old Ops guy. We are here.
the last time, as Dan just said, was 1999 and against the San Antonio Spurs. I was out in Vegas
Mhm.
when this last time happened. Lost my ass, but I was out in Vegas. But here we are. The Knicks, first of all, Dan and I owe the New York Knicks an apology. We did say that it was possible. We both did not have the Knicks sweeping the Cavaliers. We both had it either in 5 games. So we apologize for saying we did not have them sweeping the Cavaliers. We were happy and we were all for it, but we apologize for saying there would be a loss.
Yeah.
And that's the only apology I'm going to make.
Yeah.
It's not it's a sympathetic apology.
Yeah, it's an apology, but it's not really an apology. It's more of a excitement and surprise and joy. The aura is there at the Garden, and you know we're pumped up, dude. Like
Yeah,
it's here.
it is. So let's have a good look at this game, game one, which will take place, as we said, tomorrow night at 8:30. We got our season leaders. Obviously, for the New York Knicks, points lead is Jalen Brunson. And for the San Antonio Spurs is Victor Wembanyama, both averaging pretty much the same. Brunson at 26, Wembanyama at 25. No surprise that Wembanyama is leading the Spurs in rebounding at 11 and a half as the man. If I were to stand next to him, God, I don't want to even picture what that would look like. And Carl Anthony Towns for the Knicks. And it's pretty even, 11.9 for Carl Anthony Towns and 11.5 for Wembyama. And then as for the Knicks goes, we have Jalen Brunson leading the Knicks with 6.8 assists to go along with Stephen Castles on the Spurs at 7.4. So to take a look at this as a whole, it's going to be an interesting matchup for the New York Knicks. It's controlling probably one of the biggest and most influential players in the NBA in Victor Wembanyama, who literally has helped lead the San Antonio Spurs to this moment. Um, Not to count out anybody else to who was there, as I mentioned, Stephen Castle, and whatnot. But Dan, the San Antonio Spurs, we said that either the Spurs or the Thunder were going to be a tough matchup. What do you think? I mean, I just read out just some small comparison stats, but let's get a take on what you and I both think. We're going to start with you because what do you think the Knicks have to stop, and what do you think the Spurs have an advantage on?
I mean, Chris Bosh on Instagram said it perfectly. Whoever wins the big man battle, Cat or Wemby, is winning the NBA Finals. I know it's really the Brunson Wemby, but in reality, it's Cat and Wemby, based on the fact that 7 feet tall and big man, and both can shoot, both can, um, when they're attacking the rim, there's no chance, no defender is going to catch any of them. So whoever wins the big man battle is going to win the NBA Finals. The Knicks have a tall task at their hands. The Spurs, to me, were the better matchup because the Knicks matched up well against them this season. They obviously won the NBA Cup, and I think they beat them once during the regular season, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey,
Um, so look, the reality of the situation is the Spurs are a tough team. This is not going to be a cakewalk like it was against the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Sixers, the 76ers, Philadelphia.
so
This is going to be a much harder task because the Spurs are a well-coached team. They have the next freak of nature as their star player. They're young, they're spunky, and they knocked off the champs. So I expect it to be a long series.
I absolutely agree with Dan. Delightful as it was to sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers, I have to be honest. This is not the
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers. This isn't the Boston Celtics. This isn't the LA Lakers. You're looking at the two, it would have been one of two teams. We all called the Western Conference Finals from the beginning. It wasn't that hard. We knew it was going to be either the Spurs or the Thunder. I was hoping for the Spurs. But if we take a little bit of a deep dive, I mentioned Stephen Castle. There's a name that I'm not mentioning that I'm afraid could actually come alive in this series, and that's De'Aaron Fox. He's had a decent season, averaging 16 points a game, uh, you know, uh, five, four rebounds, and then 5 assists, the steals. But he's not a rookie or anything. He's played with the Kings. And he was a decent ball player. He's had a fall off the last 2 years, but he had a very good playoffs. It's hard to figure out who is going to be the guy on Fox. Who's Fox going to be on? I have it that it's going to be Castle on Brunson. That's where I think. And there's going to be a lot of trying to double Brunson.
Mhm.
And for the Knicks, we know what Brunson has to do. We know what Cat has to do. For the Knicks, I think it comes down to one name, Dan, and we're going to throw it to you right after it, is Miles Bridges, Mikal Bridges. He has exploded during these playoffs with its high intensity play, not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side. As I said, Dan and I have spoken about Brunson and Cat. My person for the Knicks is Mikal Bridges to have a amazing series.
Mhm. Well, and he's been terrific since the game 3 of the Atlanta series. Bridges is unstoppable. He's scoring double-digit points. He's um, been a big factor in the offensive game, defensive game too. So he's been very productive. And so far in the playoffs, that has been the trend for Bridges. He's been very productive. Whereas regular season, it's a different discussion, which pisses me off. But look, it sort of makes the argument to get him worth it because of it. You're spot on about De'Aaron Fox. Like he's done a pretty nice job and has played well against the Knicks this year. Um, it's going to be interesting with these matchups. Um, I need to see a little more out of OG. Not that he hasn't done enough. He has done plenty. Um, and of course, look, he's still coming back from injury, and you can tell he's not necessarily 100%. He's good enough to play, and it's getting stronger and stronger by the second. But if I could get solid minutes out of OG, solid minutes out of Hart. Like to me, it's gonna have to be once again, a big time team effort where the Knicks are gonna have to play pretty fast offense to a point where San Antonio's got to slow down and not catch them like they did in the previous two series. So that's the thing with the Knicks is that they gotta continue playing their brand of basketball. But I'm telling you, the biggest matchup of them all is the big man battle. Wemby and Cat. Who's gonna who's gonna do more damage with the ball? And look, whether it's Castle or De'Aaron Fox feeding Wemby, or whether it's Brunson feeding Cat, like who's gonna have the more benefits here?
And then, you know, the big man game is right because if you look at the San Antonio Spurs, there's not another player over 5 rebounds a game. That's a big stat to just understand. Because if you look at the Knicks, whether it's Josh Hart, we know what Cat does, so we're not going to mention him. Whether it's Josh Hart, whether it's been OG, and then the guy we're going to talk about in a minute, Mitchell Robinson, they're averaging over 6 rebounds apiece. That's huge, especially in a series
It's massive.
where the rest of the San Antonio Spurs, not saying they couldn't get better or have a better time, the rest of them are averaging under 5. And that's a big number. Now, I just mentioned a name, and that's Mitchell Robinson. As we learned at the end of the Cleveland Cavaliers series, Mitchell Robinson broke his pinky on his right finger. It was fixed, and they have, sorry, let me rephrase it. The obviously is still healing. It's not they have fixed the finger. It's still healing. It's bothering him, but they are saying he will be a game time decision. Let me put it to you in Knicks terms. That means he will be playing.
Yeah.
But they have to list the injury, to
Yeah.
abide by all NBA rules.
Yeah.
Here's the question I'm going to throw to Dan because Dan, as I said, I'm in 100% agreement with Dan on the big man factor, the foul trouble.
And that's a concern because if the Spurs can get Cat into foul trouble, that means the Knicks have to play small. Because Mitchell Robinson, whether people want to hear it or not, and I want Mitchell Robinson to play, Mitchell Robinson has been through way too much with this franchise. All the ups and downs, all the terrible coaches, and all the terrible players that he had to play with. To get to this point and not play the finals is insane. He's going to play. But I would be crazy if I didn't acknowledge that having that broken pinky is going to be a target for the Spurs. So if Cat does get into foul trouble and you're forcing the Knicks to play Mitchell Robinson, while he can play defense, that's great, is he going to be the biggest threat down low? Probably not. So, you know, there's your limitation right there. And like I said, it's going to force the Knicks to play a little bit tighter and smaller against Victor Wembanyama, who could beat you every part of that court.
One thing I've never, I mean, I rarely remember Manute Bol playing, mind you. I was a little kid. I only seen basically what I remember are highlights. I've never seen a player as tall as Wembanyama get up and down the
Yeah.
court with
Mm,
with ease. And
yeah.
I want to say with ease because it looks effortless for him.
Yes.
You would figure a big guy like that would need an extra second or so.
No.
His transition skills are explosive,
Yeah.
better than a lot I've seen throughout my time for big guys as a whole.
If you really think about it, this is a guy that's been playing even though in America we don't classify it as professional basketball, but in Europe, let's be real, this guy's been playing professional basketball since he was a little tiny kitty.
I'm kind of wondering how tall he was when he came out.
Exactly. So like yeah, this is nothing to Mitch Johnson, by the way, has done a terrific job at centering the game around Wemby, especially in the final two games of that Western Conference final, where you knew, okay, it was Wemby that was going to beat you. And look, if OKC doesn't get anything, then like it's going to be trouble. And that's sort of my point with the Knicks, because Victor Wembanyama had some real tough games where it was not very good against OKC. Are the Knicks able to find a way to make Wemby have a poor shooting game, or take Wemby out so that there's no way that he can get the ball? That's another big challenge.
So as I mentioned, I was there in 1999. I watched David Robinson and Tim Duncan own the Knicks.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you something. Victor Wembanyama is the combination of the both of them. Amazing defensive and down low skills that comes with that outside shot and vision on the court. That's scary.
It's exactly.
However, I don't want people to think I'm anti-Nick here. But I'm being an analyst. I'm explaining what the Knicks are going to have to go through. Another thing that stands very clear is Wembanyama doesn't just threaten you down low. Let's not forget this guy averages almost 4 blocks a
Mm.
game, and not all of them are in the paint. He gets you from he might be 2, 3 feet away from you, but at 7 feet he gets that lift as you're shooting
Mm.
the three and he's
His
close.
his wingspan, man. I mean, I'm telling you, when he's coming out of the draft, how long his arms are. It's frightening. And we're seeing that as one of the biggest, big time, not even, I don't even know if I can call it a weapon. I think calling it a weapon is disrespectful. Like, that's how powerful it is.
It, Wembanyama is unstoppable. Okay? Is unstoppable. Is it possible the Knicks find a way? Yes. Is it probable? Maybe not. But you want to know what? He's not going to be able to do it all himself. Okay? He's going to need the help of some of his friends, not to quote the music line itself, but it fits. Here's the question. Is it going to be Josh Hart or is it going to be OG that helps Cat out with Wemby?
OG to me is the better defender. It's close with him and Hart. Matchup wise, because he actually did well against Wemby, I would put OG on him.
Okay. So that's going to leave Josh Hart, who's been another fantastic
Yeah.
defensive and has his offensive moments,
Yeah.
as we saw in the
You,
last series.
the hustle with Josh Hart is going to be huge. If he can continue to provide that big time hustle and get back on defense to prevent any type of big time scoring run
And that's a
that
big
can be
thing the
used.
Knicks have had an issue with is transition. And not to say they're horrible at it, they're slow at it.
Yeah. They're lucky that the Cats were slow.
Yes. Look, there were many a times that there could have been a very vast point change. Was Donovan Mitchell hurt? Yes. We'll admit it now. We now know he was hurt. He couldn't run, yet the guy still somehow put up over 20 points a game. He couldn't run. But now the Knicks are facing an almost injury-free team. The Knicks had their injury concern in OG, and he's gotten better and better through each series.
Yeah.
He's had this extra rest, so
Mhm.
maybe he's not even on
Yeah.
the injury listment for anything.
Which is a good sign. Again, no one's 100% at this point.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good sign that the only real concern is the pinky of Mitchell Robinson.
Correct. And I agree with you. Here's the thing. This gentleman will not be named, neither will his company. Got a phone call last night
Mm-hmm.
around 8:40. Mark, how's it been? How you doing? Guy in the car business. Fine. What do you want? Normally, this guy's calling me for a different rate. I have an extra ticket to the Knicks opening game. You interested? You want to go? And I'm like, holy shit, am I being asked to go? I'm like, how fast can I get away from my wife? And I said, I can make myself available. Yeah. He says, well, it's 100 grand. I'm like, I said, what's 100 grand? He said, the seat. I said, hung up.
Yeah.
I am not. Where do I look like I have 100 grand
Yeah.
to be able to go sit and enjoy my Knicks? Look, if I was a billionaire, let's be honest, a deca millionaire, yeah, I could see myself pissing away the money because I get to see the Knicks in the finals, and for that type of money, it's probably right on the floor,
Yeah.
and I can say, hey, no, where am I gonna be? I'm gonna be like Dan in front of my TV
Mm.
in my house. My bathroom will have a tablet running, streaming in case their bathroom breaks because I don't want to have to pause and we don't need any major problems. So I'm going to be crazy. My wife and kids know this. Kids get to stay up extra. They're happy.
Mhm.
The question becomes as I look at Dan's work schedule and my crazy schedule this week, Dan and I have been saying we want to go for a game live. But it's kind of hard when they don't play in the weekend on the first friggin'
I
series
know. I
because Dan's
know.
working, I'm working, and I don't get. And we got Troy's baseball and Charlotte this, so we're gonna have to kind of figure out a way for Dan and I to play hooky next week
Mm.
and be live without Dan and I
Yeah.
getting in trouble.
I will say, had my father not have a early 70th birthday party on Saturday night, 13th, I would have definitely done a live stream with you. But I can't because I have to celebrate my papa, you know?
And happy early birthday to Papa Ryan's.
You know?
You know, big shout out. I hope you have a glorious and fun day. Look at the
Yeah.
smile on your son's face when we're just talking about you.
Yeah.
That says it all.
Oh
That
yeah,
says,
no. He's a great dude. He's a great dad, you know?
you know, we all know the New York faithful is watching. You know, Dan and I are going to be watching. The pun master might even throw some names and some
Mm.
fun stuff up on the
Yeah.
net.
Yeah, me and Rifkin, we go back and forth on X about the
Yeah,
Knicks all the time. So,
yeah, and stay tuned to X because Dan and I will be back after the first two games for a two-game
mm,
like we did with the Cavaliers, which will
yeah,
actually be perfect because Sunday will be a good day for us to do it somehow and get
yeah.
you ready. Want everybody to get hyped.
Mhm.
I want everybody to get pumped. I want to see the orange and blue out there flood New York with orange and blue. Works for me on
Yes.
multiple reasons. And let's start hearing that chant. Say, go New York, go New York, go. Let's fucking go Knicks. Dan?
And when is this going to happen again? So they got to win the championship, right? They got
And we
it.
can't guarantee it. There is nothing set in stone.
You know, like I could die tomorrow, which would be
Please
horrible.
don't.
Which would be horrible. But you get my point. So, um, please enjoy this. The Knicks are in the finals. I don't know if I should give a prediction, but like
Nope. We're not going to do predictions. I did my prediction saying the Knicks were going to win game one of the Cavaliers, and I was dead on. There
yeah,
is no way I'm doing anything about the finals.
yeah,
The
yeah.
finals are going to have to work themselves out themselves.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna give it public, but I'll slid into people's DMs and be like,
Oh, Dan's going to be sliding into some DMs.
yeah.
A little racy for our topics here. No, just
Mhm.
kidding. Look,
Yeah, and now I'll give my predictions via messages and stuff.
right. Look, that is going to do it for the preview of the. I love saying this because it's just fun to say. The preview of the NBA Finals featuring the New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs. It is going to be electric. It is going to be fiery. Though, you want to know what the one thing I can't wait for, Dan, quickly before we end this? Is the introduction into Madison Square Garden
Mm.
and to hear that roar that you're
Mm.
going to feel across the city. Maybe up
Yep.
here in Westchester, you will feel the vibration.
Yeah, man.
Please follow us at www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for all your blogs and vlogs. Tune in to all the podcasts on from the original SIP, which comes on every Monday and Friday.
Friday.
Bombers,
Not this Friday, by the way.
sorry, not this Friday, but comes on usually on every Monday and every Friday.
Yeah.
Check out the Face Turn that's on weekly. Don't forget to check out Batters Up, our live podcast that's on Sunday morning, provided Dan and I still have voices to be able to attend. Mike might be working sign language for us, on
Yeah.
how we talk. For me, wait a second, Dan, where else can they view? You said we're on X. Where are we?
S Insanity Real, X and Facebook. And of course the YouTube channel. All of our content, our video content's there. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Smack the bell. You don't have to tap it. Break a mouse. Show your pride. Break a mouse. Pound it. No, we will not replace it if you break it. We're just making that clear because the president would be very unhappy if we get a bill for 1,000 mouses. That would be interesting. Look, New York faithful, from here all around the world, to my friend Omer Barzilai, who will be watching in Israel. Let's go, New York. We've all waited for. I've been waiting since 1999 again. Dan's been waiting his whole life. The rest of this network is waiting their whole life. Jeff, though, was there in 1999, though, so we've just seen this. But we're all there. We're all rooting. For me, I'm Mark Oldop's Guy Halpern, along with the Vice President, Danny Boy Reginald. We hope to see you soon with smiles on our faces. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Hey, peace and love, everybody.